Jerusalem, 1119, a city of blood and faith. 9 men, led by Hugues de Payens, swear an oath to protect the roads for pilgrims. They had no money, no fame, and only 2 horses for every 2 men. But within years, these poor Knights of Christ would transform into the Knights Templar, the most powerful organization the world had ever seen. What secret did they find beneath the ruins of Solomon's temple that changed their destiny? Welcome to Dark Trace. Today, we go into the shadows of the Templar Order. For 9 long years, these 9 men remained in Jerusalem. They didn't fight in battles. They didn't protect many pilgrims. Instead, they settled directly above the ruins of Solomon's temple. What were they doing? Legends claim they weren't just praying. They were digging. Archaeological evidence suggests they excavated deep tunnels beneath the Temple Mount. Did they find the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail, or ancient scrolls containing lost secrets of the universe? We may never know for sure, but we do know the result. When they returned to Europe, they were no longer poor. Suddenly, they had the full backing of the Pope and the support of the most powerful kings. Their influence exploded overnight. They began building massive stone cathedrals and fortresses across the continent, etched with mysterious symbols and sacred geometry that architects today still struggle to fully decode. Was this wealth a gift from God or a reward for something they unearthed in the dark? But the Templars weren't just bankers. They were the elite special forces of the medieval world. To join, a man had to surrender everything: his wealth, his family, and his very will. They lived by a brutal code of 72 strict rules. They were forbidden from retreating in battle unless outnumbered 3-1. They never surrendered. On the battlefield, they were a wall of white and red, a psychological weapon that broke the spirit of their enemies before a single sword was drawn. Imagine the life of a Templar. Days spent in silent prayer, followed by hours of grueling combat training in the scorching heat. They were forbidden from even kissing their own mothers, dedicated solely to the order and the secret they protected. This absolute discipline is what allowed them to build a network of over 9,000 commanderies across Europe and the Middle East. They were a state within a state, answerable to no king, only to the Pope. And it was this independence, this untouchable status, that eventually sowed the seeds of their destruction. As their power grew, the Templars realized that steel wasn't their only weapon. Gold was. They became the world's first true multinational corporation. They created a revolutionary financial system that changed humanity forever. Imagine being a traveler in the 12th century. Carrying gold across borders was a death sentence. The Templars solved this. You could deposit your gold at a Templar preceptory in London or Paris, receive a coded parchment, and withdraw the equivalent value in Jerusalem. They invented the modern bank, the check, and the credit system. They owned thousands of estates, a massive fleet of warships that dominated the Mediterranean, and even the island of Cyprus. They became so wealthy that they started lending money to the kings of Europe to fund their wars. But power on this level comes with a deadly price. King Philip IV of France, a man drowning in debt to the order, realized he could never pay them back. He decided that if he couldn't pay his debt, he would simply erase the creditors. But the Templars' power wasn't just in their gold or their swords. It was in their silence. They spoke in a language of symbols that few outside the order could understand. From the mysterious Abraxas seal to the complex geometric patterns carved into their commanderies, every line had a hidden meaning. Some believed these symbols were a map to the treasure they found beneath the temple, while others claimed they were a spiritual code for a higher truth. They were masters of sacred geometry. They built their cathedrals and churches using mathematical secrets that seemed centuries ahead of their time. Why did they use the octagon, the eight-sided shape, so frequently in their architecture? To them, it was the bridge between the earth and the heavens. They left clues in the stone, symbols like the flower of life, and hidden pentagrams that architects today still struggle to decode. But this obsession with secret knowledge became their undoing. Rumors began to spread. People talked of secret rituals held in the dead of night, where initiates were forced to worship a mysterious dark idol known as Baphomet. Was it a real demonic entity, or simply a misunderstood symbol of universal wisdom? This wall of secrecy made them untouchable for nearly 2 centuries, but it also became the perfect weapon for King Philip to use against them. In the shadows of the medieval world, the Templars weren't just warriors. They were the architects of a secret new world, one brick and one symbol at a time. The end came swiftly. Before dawn on Friday, October 13th, 1307, sealed orders were opened across France. In a single coordinated strike, hundreds of Templars were seized and thrown into lightless dungeons. They were accused of the unthinkable, heresy, devil worship, and spitting on the cross. For years, they were tortured in the most brutal ways imaginable to force confessions. The king's goal was simple: seize their legendary treasure. But as his soldiers stormed the Templar vaults in Paris, they were met with a chilling surprise. The vaults were empty. The gold, the documents, and the artifacts had vanished overnight. In 1314, the final Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was led to a stake to be burned alive. As the flames consumed him, he didn't scream in pain. Instead, he issued a terrifying curse, summoning the king and the pope to meet him before God's judgment within a year. Within months, both the pope and the king were dead. The order was gone, but the mystery was just beginning. Where did the treasure go? On the night of the arrests, 18 Templar ships slipped out of the port of La Rochelle under the cover of darkness. They were never seen again. Some believe they sailed to the rugged coast of Scotland, hiding their secrets in the mysterious carvings of Rosslyn Chapel. Others claim they crossed the Atlantic, reaching the shores of America a century before Christopher Columbus was even born. Today, the Templar shadow is everywhere. From the rituals of secret societies like the Freemasons to the global banking systems we use every day. Their true legacy might not be gold or silver, but a hidden truth about our history that they died to protect. They were the keepers of a light that the world wasn't ready to see. Their story reminds us that even when you burn the men, the truth remains buried in the dark, waiting for someone to find the trace. I'm Dark Trace, and the past is closer than you think. Let us know your theories in the comments below. Where do you think the 18 ships went? If you want to uncover more of history's darkest secrets, make sure to subscribe to Dark Trace. Stay vigilant.